All right, everybody, welcome in. Today, we are diving headfirst into the world of African leadership with this really interesting source, Mindset Africa. It's all about the unique qualities and approaches that really make leaders stand out on the continent.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating look at what it takes to be a leader, especially with all the complexities and opportunities in different parts of Africa.
And right off the bat, Mindset Africa hits us with this concept of navigating ambiguity. They say it's super important for African leaders.
And it's not just some empty phrase. It's about recognizing that in many African nations, things aren't always straightforward. You've got rapid changes, diverse cultures, even historical context, all playing a part.
So it's less about having that detailed roadmap and more about being okay with making decisions without all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. The source really emphasizes emotional intelligence here. Like, imagine a leader's in the middle of a negotiation. They might have to pick up on unspoken cues, understand cultural nuances, because those things can really change the whole outcome.
Mindset Africa ties this into the whole growth mindset thing, too. It seems like that's a big theme throughout.
It's huge. They argue that this growth mindset, basically, that belief in your ability to learn and adapt, it's crucial for leaders in Africa. And they use Eligo Dangote as a great example. He went from a small trading business to building this massive cement factory back when Nigeria relied heavily on imports.
And he had this vision, and even when things got tough, like dealing with import problems or those unpredictable market prices, he just rolled with it, changed up his strategies, and ended up changing an entire industry in Nigeria.
Exactly. That's a perfect example of the growth mindset in action. It wasn't just about a good idea, it was about being resilient, adapting to the unexpected.
And then there's this fascinating thing, the mirror theory of leadership. Mindset Africa talks about it, developed by this Ivorian entrepreneur, Fabrice Savignon. This one really got my attention.
It's powerful. It's all about self-awareness as the foundation of good leadership. Sauvignon says that real leadership comes from understanding not only your strong points, but also those weaknesses, and how your actions affect other people.
It's like holding up a mirror to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Getting a clear picture and admitting how your behavior impacts everyone around you.
Exactly. It's a challenge to leaders to constantly be checking themselves, making sure what they do actually lines up with what they say they'll do. The source talks about how important this is in Africa, where building trust and strong relationships is so essential.
And that leads right into another thing. Mindset Africa really emphasizes this focus on relationships and community. It comes up again and again.
It's more than just networking, that's for sure. It's about understanding that in a lot of African cultures, success is a team effort. There's that proverb, alone you go faster, but together you go further. That really gets at what this source is saying.
Building up strong teams, valuing collaboration, recognizing that everyone has a part to play. It seems like that's deeply rooted in this approach to leadership.
Yeah, it's about realizing that leadership isn't a solo act. You need that supportive environment. And it's interesting because later on, the source talks about individual development. It seems almost like a contradiction.
It does. On one hand, it's community, collaboration, but then Mindset Africa also gets into these 10 essential personal development lessons. It's like they're saying become the best version of you so you can contribute more to the whole.
Yeah, that's it. Finding that balance, pushing for individual growth, but never forgetting about the collective good.
Okay, let's get into these personal development lessons. Mindset Africa starts with a big one, cultivating resilience. Makes sense considering we were just talking about how unpredictable things can be.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it goes beyond just bouncing back from setbacks. They tell this story about Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, the Nigerian author. Early in her career, she got a lot of criticism for writing about female characters and experiences.
And not just any criticism, right? She was told her stories weren't African enough. What a ridiculous thing to say.
It is. But Adichie used that to fuel her work. She kept writing her truth, challenged those ideas, and now she's a global literary icon. Talk about authenticity and resilience.
It really highlights what Mindset Africa says about innovation through creativity. Don't just overcome challenges, use them to create something new.
Exactly. They argue that real leadership means pushing boundaries, challenging the status quo, especially in Africa, where new perspectives are so needed.
So it's more than just having the idea. You have to have the guts to see it through, even when it goes against conventional wisdom.
You got it. And this actually connects to another big lesson, active listening. Mindset Africa really stresses how important it is to seek out different perspectives, not just to be inclusive, but to really get what people need and what they want.
I'd say it's especially important for leaders who are trying to bring people together, to find solutions that work for everybody.
Right. And that leads to their next point. Having a clear and inspiring vision. They say a strong vision, one that's rooted in understanding the community, that's crucial for getting people on board with a shared goal.
Like painting a picture of a better future that really speaks to people. And then, of course, you got to have the skills to actually lead people toward making that vision a reality. Mindset Afric talks a lot about interpersonal skills.
Yeah, and it's not just about being charming, it's deeper than that. Building real connections, creating trust, navigating all those human interactions with empathy and understanding.
They're big on effective communication being key, especially when you're working with different cultures, different communication styles.
And all of this is happening in an environment that can be really high pressure. That's why Mindset Afric has a whole section on managing stress and uncertainty.
It's like they're saying you can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't lead effectively. Self-care isn't selfish, it's essential.
Totally. And then they talk about continuous learning as another pillar of personal development. Being able to adapt to new information to change your understanding of the world, that's critical, especially with how quickly things are changing in Africa.
And they use Wangari Maathai as an example. She won the Nobel Peace Prize for her environmental work in Kenya. She started the Greenbelt movement, planting trees.
It started small, tackling deforestation and erosion. But Maathai knew that environmental problems were connected to social and economic issues.
So she kept learning, always searching for new information. And that's how she turned this local movement into a force for change across Africa, not just for the environment, but for women too.
It's a great example. And it leads right into the next lesson Mindset Afric talks about, creating an inclusive and diverse environment.
Recognizing that different perspectives are so important for innovation, for solving problems, especially with all the complexities of the African continent.
Definitely. And with all these different voices, the source says leaders have to constantly evaluate themselves, ask for feedback, and learn from their mistakes.
They say humility is so important for a leader. Admitting that you don't have all the answers, being open to learning from others, even if they're less experienced than you.
And finally, Mindset Afric talks about the importance of leading by example, with transparency and integrity.
Walking the walk, right? Your actions have to match your words. You
Mm.
got to be genuine, show the values you want other people to follow.
They say that authenticity builds trust and makes people want to be better. It's what takes a group from just a bunch of individuals to a real team.
So we've got these 10 lessons, and they're obviously important for each person. But Mindset Afric doesn't stop there, does it?
No, they don't. They connect these individual journeys back to the bigger picture, especially when you look at what it all means for the future of leadership in Africa. They say these personal journeys, all that growth and self-awareness, that's what's going to shape the future of leadership in Africa.
It's about moving away from power and towards empowerment.
Exactly.
Mindset Afric really seems to believe that the next generation of leaders, they won't be satisfied with just their own success. It'll be about uplifting their communities, making real, lasting change.
Yeah, they give some really compelling examples of people who are already doing that. We talked about Aliko Dangote, his impact on business in Nigeria, but he's also all about social good.
He puts so much into education, healthcare, all across Africa. It's like he gets it, you know? Real progress isn't just about money. It's about creating opportunities for everyone.
For sure. And Youssou N'Dour, the musician from Senegal, he uses his platform to talk about democracy, social justice. Leadership can go beyond industries, even beyond art.
He even ran for president of Senegal back in 2012. Shows you what leadership means to him. It's about his people, building a better future for Senegal.
And Mindset Afric points out how these leaders, they embrace their culture, but they're not afraid to challenge things that are outdated. That brings us back to Fabrice Saugnon and the mirror theory.
Right. Understanding your own cultural background, how it affects your leadership, but also being open to change, to growing beyond those old limitations. Embrace your roots, but don't let them hold you back, is what it sounds like to me.
It's a good way to put it. And then you've got someone like Jennifer Bash. She started a company that provides clean water in East Africa. She saw a problem, knew how it was affecting people, and she took action.
That entrepreneurial spirit Mindset Afric talks about, it's all about seeing what needs to be done and having the guts, the creativity to do something about it.
And by doing that, these leaders, they're changing the story of Africa. Mindset Africa ends on such a hopeful note, emphasizing all the potential for leadership in Africa.
That's what I love about it. It's not just about the problems. It's about the possibilities, the incredible people who are making things happen.
It's like they're challenging aspiring leaders all over Africa. It's in your hands, they're saying. You have the power to shape your own destiny, to build a continent that thrives.
So if we're taking away one thing from Mindset Africa, it's that leadership in Africa is evolving. Resilience, innovation, a deep dedication to community, that's what's shaping it.
And it's a good reminder that leadership, it's not some exclusive club. It's a choice we can all make every single day to be ourselves, to use our strengths to help others, to make a difference in the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating look at leadership around the world.